Why the 3-step low-carb, high-fat diet? In today's world, especially in the US, the population is becoming more obese and unhealthy. You would think with all the science and knowledge that this would not be true. But just look at the numbers. The numbers don't lie. Among adults aged 20 and older in 2009 and 2010, 68.8% of adults were considered to be overweight or obese. The sad fact is, these numbers keep rising and are showing no signs of stopping. Why is that when there are so many low-fat, fat-free, low-calorie, and so-called healthy diet foods and diet plans on the market today? Could there be something that you have never heard about that is purposely being hid from you? The sad truth is, yes. In today's economy, profits rule. It doesn't matter who gets hurt or suffers and dies. It's all about the economy and making profits. Let's pull back the curtain and explain how this all came about. The smoke and mirrors deception began by a University of Minnesota researcher named Ancel Keys, who was backed by a grant from a biased party called the National Heart Institute. I say biased because without heart disease there would be no need for the National Heart Institute. So it was in the National Heart Institute's best interest to have heart disease. Ancel Keys studied 21 countries but decided to only use 7 countries that fit his theory of which dietary fat caused heart disease. He left out countries like Holland and Norway where they ate a lot of fat but had little heart disease, and countries like Chile where they ate little fat but the rate of heart disease was high. In other words, cherry-picking the countries that fit the theory he wanted to prove. Then, to make matters worse, a U.S. Senate committee led by George McGovern in 1977 published the first dietary goals for the U.S. as a guise to reverse the growing epidemic of heart disease. The dietary goals were to eat less fat, cholesterol, and less refined processed sugars, but to eat more complex carbohydrates from vegetables, fruits, and grains. These guidelines were picked up by the United States Department of Agriculture, who then promoted the food pyramid we all became familiar with. Of course, the USDA's job is to sell grains. Now almost everyone knows that processed sugar is probably not good for you. The USDA even said you should limit your processed sugars. So what about grains? Whether whole grains or not, we must look at what grains really are. Grains are a plant's food storage system and are called complex carbohydrates. Complex carbohydrates are a chain of glucose molecules that are strung together. Glucose is a simple sugar. So when you follow the USDA MyPlate food guide, the 2 major portions on your plate are vegetables and, by definition, sugar. Although things like bread or products made with flour may not taste sweet, it is still a sugar. Same thing with the starch in potatoes and rice. Sugar causes your blood glucose to spike immediately after you eat, which causes many of the preventable diseases we see exploding today. A few examples you might recognize are obesity, being overweight, atherosclerosis, and cardiovascular disease, cancer, arthritis, cardiacs, osteoporosis, type 2 diabetes, hypertension, and Alzheimer's disease. There are many both profit and so-called non-profit industries that benefit tremendously from this sleight of hand we were dealt. The American Cancer Society, the American Heart Association, the pharmaceutical industry, insurance companies, the medical industry, USDA, and the processed food industry are a few that come off the top of my mind, but I'm sure there are more. Whether they are knowingly doing so or not, they do profit because of it. So if you're waiting for them to do something to change the way things are, don't hold your breath. So what are we to do? It's simple. Take control of your own health. I'm not saying don't see your doctor. Just research before you follow the advice you're given. Ask questions. After all, it's your body and your health, and you need to take responsibility for it. As you can see, that is what I did. And what did I find out? Well, I was told my cholesterol was too high and I needed to be on statins. I did my research and I found out my ratios were excellent and I really didn't need it. As a disgusting side note here, the American College of Cardiology, ACC, and the American Heart Association, AHA, released new guidelines for the treatment of cholesterol to prevent heart attacks and strokes amid a continuing rise in the rate of heart disease in the United States. These new guidelines are now set up in a way that nearly all seniors are now eligible for cholesterol-lowering statin drugs. Well, the profits the pharmaceutical companies make on these drugs, it's no surprise to me. If you are on prescriptions, do your research and see if you really need to be on it. Don't stop taking any prescriptions though until you talk to your doctor about your research. I have the questions you should ask if you are on or told you need to be on statins in my 3-step low-carb, high-fat book, Chapter 1, A Lie You Believe is as Powerful as the Truth. So to get healthy, go on a diet that eliminates all processed foods, including processed sugars, all grain products, including whole grains, flour, and such. Eat only organic fruits and vegetables and hormone and antibiotic grass-fed meats, and only good fats, minimally processed. The one I recommend is, of course, the 3-step low-carb, high-fat diet, but there are others that follow these rules. Give one of them a try and see how much better you feel, how much more energy you have, and how much better you look. Plus, once you stay on the diet, your cravings will disappear forever. I hope, like me, you have success on this diet. That's it for now. Enjoy!